Meghan's committed some pretty serious crimes against the royal family, but clearly she's the one.
Camilla never ever made a nasty comment.
Yeah.
Whereas Meghan and Harry have made the most rude comments about Camilla.
In the previous video, I talked about Meghan using Archie as a valuable card to deceive everyone and attract media attention. At the same time, I also exposed how she slandered the royal family, as well as the people of the UK. And of course, she will have to pay for those actions. The god of luck has turned his back on Meghan, and there will be continuous punishments for Meghan. Well, today I will go deeper into how the royal family is damaged by what Meghan has done. To be honest, Meghan could not damage the royal family by herself. But now she and Harry have damaged the royal family with the cooperation of Charles. How did he do it? By giving in to their unreasonable demands and allowing them to attend the coronation, confirming royal titles for their children. I know King Charles is a good person up to now, but I don't agree with the way he treated Meghan and Harry lightly. The monarchy is an institution that exists as a special relationship between the monarch and the people. As king, Charles is expected to put his people first, even before his own family, even before his own son. When that son slanders the UK and the institution of the monarchy, when that son tells blatant lies, when that son marches and commercializes British titles and jeopardizes British soldiers, as Harry did, and destroys the dignity of the British nation, that son has by his own traitorous and evil action lost his rightful place in the monarchy. If Charles had ignored them, hardly ideal, but at least that move did not dignify their attacks or give them more ammunition. If Charles had followed the example of Queen Margrethe II of Denmark and stripped his son and grandchildren of royal titles, and even removed them from the line of succession, it's been done before, call it attainder, that would have satisfied the need for the British for fairness and decency. But to give in like this, are we now to all pretend the attacks of the past years never happened? By giving in to his son, Charles is gaslighting the entire nation. The monarchy is badly damaged, and what Meghan couldn't do on her own, the king himself has now done. Meanwhile, Meghan and Harry are like small mosquitoes that could be swatted away in an instant. Yet they continue to roam freely, sucking the blood of others. It is not incorrect to say that this situation is partly due to the manipulation and concessions of the royal family, particularly the head of it, King Charles. Instead of decisively confronting Meghan and Harry's betrayal and ingratitude, the royal family has chosen a mild, vague approach, allowing the disrespect and conflict to persist. King Charles, in his role as a father and the head of the royal family, could have set clear and firm boundaries to protect the honor and values of the monarchy. However, he seems to have taken a more lenient path, hoping that the situation would naturally resolve itself. This leniency has given Meghan and Harry the opportunity to continue acting recklessly, causing significant upheaval both in the public eye and within the royal family itself. Some argue that King Charles's reluctance to take strong measures stems from the love of a father for his son, Harry. However, this love has been exploited and turned into a tool for Meghan and Harry to further undermine the royal family's credibility. So the British public expected strong and decisive leadership from King Charles, but instead, they witnessed only submissiveness and leniency. This hesitation has allowed Meghan and Harry not only to survive, but also to challenge an institution that has existed for centuries, distorting the image of the royal family in the eyes of many. But that's okay, none at all. Meghan and Harry harmed themselves. Oprah, too. For now, it's clear Harry and Meghan haven't moved on. They are bitter and resentful, and they are lingering, wallowing on all the perceived slights and humiliations. Conclusion: they did not get what they sought from the royal family. They didn't win. They are imaginative with their truth. In reality, they are downright lying in these situations. Meghan claims she had to hand over her passport. But didn't she go to the US for her baby shower and to see Serena Williams play tennis? Didn't they go on holiday to Ibiza? Was she traveling without her passport? She certainly could travel overseas. When she claims that the palace HR department refused to obtain a doctor for her mental health, she was able to select her desired medical team for her pregnancy, as well as many American public relations firms. She can even select her own mental health professionals. Point 2. Why go to palace HR? Who is in charge of managing the palace staff? Meghan is not an employee. She is a family member. Does that even sound plausible? She claims she wasn't even permitted to go out and meet her friends for lunch. Wasn't she photographed at Wimbledon with friends? And didn't she say she was there in a private capacity and hence shouldn't be shot? Meghan is eager to use the race card as a blunt instrument to target the royal family. However, there is no evidence of racism by the royal family, other than Meghan's statement. She has definitely exhibited a tendency to lie. She's simply not credible. The Sussexes are unable to provide any clear and precise information on future work. Where are your Netflix shows? Who are your Netflix production teams? Where will your next Spotify podcast be hosted? And how frequently will it be released? Etc. Nothing is known about their current or future lives. They are bitter about the life they left behind, and they have nothing to show for the one they have now. They are tone-deaf, dismissing the hardships and misery that the pandemic has caused around the world. How can you feel sorry for yourself when you are better off than the majority of the world's population? True, we all face difficulties, but I wouldn't want to cry about my problems on television when I know others are going through far worse. Where is their empathy? Despite having stated their aim to be financially independent, Harry is upset and unhappy that he is not receiving financial assistance. As a result, they are hypocrites. Perhaps he doesn't comprehend what financial freedom entails. They place a high value on royal titles and rank. Otherwise, they would not be so upset that Archie is not a prince. This is despite the fact that Archie is not entitled to it. The royal family has moved on and will simply refuse to participate. This may appear weak to some, but in the long run it is correct. When questioned about his son just now, Charles chuckled and went on. And that's the right thing to do. When a spoilt brat throws a tantrum on the floor, you walk away and let him yell. People who understand how to analyze and look for facts will notice the inconsistencies, lies, and entitlement. In the long run, the royal family continues to carry out its obligations and play an important role in British life. The Sussexes will have to find their own place, and it appears that they are not doing it very successfully. With each passing year and tantrum, they grow less significant, repetitive, tedious, and inconvenient. They've had their big tantrum. Now we'll see how they show themselves in the real world as the stars they imagine they are. Oprah allowed any contradictions and outright lies to go unchecked. She did not inquire about Thomas Markle or any other topic that Meghan would have had difficulty answering. She helped them manufacture this story, so she is complicit. Oprah shows a disregard for truth, fairness, and honesty. She demonstrated that she has an axe to grind. I believe it is based on race. She's out to get anyone who isn't black, and the royal family makes a good target, don't they? Oprah's record, particularly her relationships with Harvey Weinstein, warrants further investigation. Finally, the Oprah, Harry, and Meghan show drew 17 million people. The Queen's pandemic speech was seen by 24 million people. Oprah, Harry, Meghan was widely marketed, with plenty of teases and a wonderful air of controversy. The Queen's address was announced simply. Even still, their numbers could not compete with the little old lady who sits calmly at Windsor Castle. Not that figures are really relevant or classy, but I would want to point out that they lose even in this arena. I can think of various methods that the Sussexes did not seem to consider, although some do involve accessing the royal connection as an initial opening to boost their independent career. Living simply within their means, as Harry has a trust fund or two that, if correctly invested, may give income from the interest earned without touching the capital. Motivational speaker circuit. Harry was highly interested in helping African NGOs that may serve as a platform for others to improve themselves. While his academic achievements were not stellar, he did have inside knowledge of the royal lifestyle and could have used it to dispel some of the myths surrounding the family and the constructions that royals face. Rather than revealing private details, he could have taken a slightly different approach that would not have alienated his family members. He could have been a royal analyst for one of the various media outlets, and with his personal background, he could have contributed some intriguing personal insights. While the majority of his money is held in trust funds, he could have lived well, if not lavishly, on the trust income alone, perhaps being able to increase his riches in this manner. Among the many views he has expressed, he appears to have enjoyed his time in the military. While he has focused on disabled veterans with his Invictus Games, he could have investigated establishing a company that specialized in assisting and employing those veterans after their enlistment had ended, allowing them to use their skills in civilian life. This may range from security support to consultancy and risk assessments, or any other skills they had learned. Having worked in senior diplomatic circles when a working royal, he had some relationships that he could build in numerous ways to help start such a corporation if he headed in that route. His family, while not always successful, has been involved in the successful operation of large corporations. Harry could have learned about such techniques from his father and elder brother, and he could have used their techniques as a template for his own management of his endeavors. He would have had access to various members of his family who might help him refine his ideas based on their experiences and financial success. Again, he could have used his acquaintance with members of the nobility to write a series of books about their lifestyles and the challenges they encountered, along with their rationale. Do you agree with my opinions? I have to exclamatory the actions and decisions that Harry made. He himself destroyed his bright life, and the source of everything is none other than Meghan. Also, in a previous video, I talked about Meghan's mental illness, but do you know about Meghan's current developments and how severe her illness has become? Recently, she has continued to act extremely crazy and stupid in order to attract the enemy's attention and attention. Recently, more than £10 million of taxpayers' money was spent on large-scale attention-seeking for the King's birthday. Members of the royal family rushed into boxes containing their clothes for display. Even the missing Princess of Wales appeared remarkably refreshed after a 6-month absence. Of course, more than 5,000 miles away, a friend of Meghan's posted a photo to his personal Instagram account the day before, and it certainly overshadowed this display of wealth and glamour. Actually, if a jar of jam could overshadow working royals, it is so stupid both Meghan and her second puppet are equally stupid. Now I want to discuss with you a quite interesting topic. What are the chances of Prince Harry being forgiven by the British public if he divorces Meghan and asks the world for forgiveness? Before I express my opinion, what do you think? Please comment below to let me and everyone know. Despite the fact that I am only one member of the British public and so would not be so arrogant as to assert that I am able to speak for all individuals from the United Kingdom, I am able to express my opinions. First, in order for him to be forgiven, he would have to ask for forgiveness, and second, it would be equally crucial for him to be seen as being honest in his acts. From my perspective, there are two things that I do not believe would occur. The attitude that he appears to follow is that he will only ask for forgiveness if he has been caught in the act of committing a transgression. Otherwise, it is acceptable in his eyes to continue. The forgiveness that he might seek occurs as a result of his realizing that he has done something wrong, or it is for being caught in the act of doing something wrong. In some instances, after a few years, he may issue a very low-key apology, followed by a statement that was not what I meant, in an effort to shift the responsibility. His part performances are filled with high-publicity innuendos, which are directed against his family. These innuendos are designed to garner him the publicity he desires. If he was serious in his opinion, he should either continue to hold the position he currently holds, or he should admit that he has changed his mind and issue an apology that is equally as high profile, so putting the record straight. Alternatively, if he was misquoted, why did he not make that claim when the claim was initially being circulated? To me, it seems that Harry will blame anyone for his misdeeds, rather than accepting that he was the person who initiated them. And when the fallout from what he had claimed finally reaches a little used part of his mind, then realizes that others have believed him, and the people who had cared for him are now extremely hurt by his actions and are distancing themselves from him. Does an apology in those circumstances carry any degree of sincerity or intention to do better in the future? No, I do not believe that to be the case. In addition to the facts that have been reported, which cannot be refuted, there are also the interpretations of those who took part in those facts. These interpretations are considered to be conjectures. The question inquires as to whether or not the British public will forgive Harry purely on the basis of the fact that he divorced Meghan, and it then goes on to specify, almost as an afterthought, that he asks the entire globe for forgiveness. It is important to recognize the shift in emphasis, which is that the British public will forgive Harry if he divorces Meghan, and if he were to plead for pardon, the entire globe. Despite the fact that this is a reflection of Harry's demands when he was invited to his father's coronation and his grandmother's Jubilee festivities, the British public is not as petty or spiteful as Harry is. Both parties were adults at the time of the wedding, at least chronologically, and both did so voluntarily at the time. Even during the ceremony, there was a point at which Harry or Meghan could have backed out of the marriage, which is extremely unlikely, but it is there in the service, so both parties at that time wanted to get married. If, after some time has passed, one of the parties decides that they want to divorce, this is a private matter that does not involve the people of the United Kingdom or any other nation. Both Meghan, an adult American, and Prince Harry, an adult British citizen, voluntarily wed each other. Meghan is an American, while Prince Harry is a British citizen. If they come to the realization that they have become more distant over the course of time, it may be wiser for both of them to go their separate ways and look for happiness elsewhere. Each of them has expressed their thoughts and feelings toward the people of the United Kingdom, the royal family, and the Anglican Church. Because they are held accountable in their own right, Meghan's opinions are ascribed to her, while Harry's thoughts are attributed to Harry. It seems that Meghan has come to the realization that there is a significant portion of the British people that does not like her. Given that she visits the United Kingdom quite infrequently, this is perhaps the best situation for both sides. Harry is still a citizen of the United Kingdom and a member of the Windsor family, the royal family. His circumstance is a little bit different. Based on the results of opinion polls conducted in the United Kingdom, it was found that the popularity of numerous active British royals ranged from 60% to 90% of people who approved of them and their actions. What is not so prominently quoted is the confidence limitations, which would more truly show the range of the individual's popularity. This still leaves some people in the public who do not approve of the proposal. On the other hand, putting that worry aside for the time being, the same surveys, which could be presumed to have the same confidence bounds, likewise placed Harry and Meghan in the middle to low 20% to 30% of the popularity rankings, with Meghan being ranked lower than Harry. Harry has openly criticized both the organization that his family supports, which as an individual he is entitled to hold his own personal views on, but he does not have the power to try to force his ideas on other people. Harry has done this on his own. However, in addition to this, he has directed his criticisms of the organization against the individuals who hold the positions described in the previous sentence. His father, in his capacity as Duke of Cornwall, provided financial assistance to his sons while they were engaged in work for the Queen. Harry's lifestyle was funded by his father's income while he was a part of the royal family. However, this payment ceased when Harry made the decision to become independent of the job that the royal family undertook. While it is possible to make accommodations for Meghan, it is not possible to give Harry the same kind of latitude. Harry was raised in the United Kingdom, and he ought to have been aware of the role that his family plays in the organization of the nation. Additionally, he has bolstered the allegations that his wife has made against his family by making his own claims against specific members of his immediate family. He has supported the allegations that his wife has made against his family. In the event that he submitted a plea for forgiveness, it would be necessary for the individuals against whom he has leveled the charges to grant it. Because of the seriousness of his plea, it would be necessary to persuade not only them, but also the people of the United Kingdom and the other nations that are members of the Commonwealth. It would take a considerable amount of time, if ever, to convince many people that he was being honest this time around. His previous performance would be used as a measurement of how serious he was, and his actions over the course of several years would all need to corroborate the sincerity of his words throughout the entire process. It is a self-evident fact that some people will forgive him sooner than others. Others will feel that he has crossed numerous lines from which there is no forgiveness, and there is surely no forgiving his deeds, as much as he can forget his actions over time. Some will want evidence of a long-term change in his behavior, while others will feel that he has violated several boundaries. As an addition to my response, I would want to point out that the individual in question has not provided information regarding their nation of origin or domicile. One prominent American-born military man who rose to quite a high rank in the colonial army was Benedict Arnold. During the Revolutionary War, when the colonists fought the British for their independence, there was a man named Benedict Arnold who rose to quite a high rank in the colonial army. It may be useful to make an analogy in terms that Americans can possibly make a better connection with. During the conflict, he switched his allegiance and became a renowned commander in the British Army. He led the British troops in their fight against his more steadfast compatriots. I am of the opinion that he is still considered a traitor to the United States of America, and that many people in the United Kingdom consider Prince Harry to be even less honorable than Benedict Arnold. The context of how a significant percentage of the populace in the United Kingdom views Prince Harry may be provided by this. As a matter of fact, Harry and Meghan are presently experiencing a financial issue, which is one of the numerous reasons why I am able to declare that they will divorce sooner or later. It is possible that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will run into financial difficulties as a result of the possibility that their lucrative Netflix arrangement will not be renewable. After departing the royal family in the year 2020, they negotiated a contract with Netflix that was worth £80 million, $100 million, over the course of 5 years. Nevertheless, royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams has cautioned that the pair would experience financial issues if this arrangement, which is set to expire in a few months, is not renewed within the next few months. The polo show that Harry is putting on and the cooking program that Meghan is putting on are two of the projects that Harry and Meghan are currently working on. The fact is that they have been unable to get an agreement with Spotify, and Meghan's podcasts with Lemonade Media have been postponed until next year. It was pointed out by Fitzwilliams that the couple has not done hardly anything for Netflix since the beginning of their contract. Furthermore, given that Netflix is no longer producing The Crown, there is a possibility that interest in the Sussexes would diminish. In addition, the expert noted that Archie, the company that runs both a business and a charitable foundation, has a limited number of donors, which makes their potential financial problems much worse. As a result of worries regarding potential conflicts with her future Netflix series, Meghan's comeback to podcasting has been postponed until the year 2025. If I'm being completely honest, when Meghan's next profitable projects and contracts are cancelled, and she won't know how to manage and look at the lives of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, I won't be able to avoid feeling a glimmer of gloating. What a profound irony. The couple is currently dealing with the repercussions of the choices they made, which resulted in a chain of events that were fraught with controversy and drama. The life of Meghan Markle, a former actress who is now a member of the royal family, has been characterized by a series of daring and often conflicting actions. With attractive projects and contracts continually facing the possibility of failure, moving to the United States and attempting to become financially independent can appear to be a mission that is doomed to fail. Currently, there is a possibility that the contract with Netflix, which is an essential component of their efforts to achieve financial independence, would be terminated. In spite of the fact that they came to an expensive agreement, there is a significant problem with the quality and competitiveness of their initiatives. This could be a useful lesson for Meghan Markle to learn about not placing an excessive amount of reliance on the reputations or financial situations of other people, as she may be required to find a method to manage in the event that this contract expires. Moreover, we are able to observe that Meghan is worthless, incompetent, and unable to accomplish anything that is of any value as a result of these events. It is true that she is most skilled at fooling and luring guys to seduce her. In addition, I find it extremely surprising that Meghan has not proposed a reality show similar to the one that the Kardashians have created. She would, of course, be the focus of attention, whether she was in the kitchen cooking jam, in the bedroom getting dressed into another outfit that didn't fit properly, or in the kitchen preparing milkshakes. You get the idea. It's possible that even Harry might be permitted to utter a few words every once in a while. In particular, I believe that contracts with Netflix or other companies should expire sooner rather than now. The fact that you are experiencing significant financial difficulties after inheriting and receiving hundreds of millions of pounds is difficult to comprehend. If I were to get only £1 million, I would make sure that my family and my descendants remained comfortable for the rest of their lives by carefully investing the money. It is imperative that they live in the actual world. However, given that Harry and Meghan have been given a significant amount of money, what options does he have? Is it possible for him to work while he is in possession of a visa? Does he have to pay taxes in the United States? Can he be taxed in the United Kingdom on his earnings from overseas? The question is whether or not he has continued streams of income from inheritances, from his mother, the late Queen Mother, and from the late Queen. To what extent does he limit Markle's clothing and jewelry purchases, or does he pay for them on his own? Put an end to that and reduce the amount of shopping she does. Do he and his wife make use of the money that he receives from charitable donations? Is it possible for the tax to deduct all of his expenses, including the multiple flights on the private jet? If that's the case, why in the name of self-interest and possibly avoiding paying taxes? Additionally, there are a great number of questions that need to be addressed and answered. One of the problems is that Harry has never lived in the real world and has never had to think about the things that we have, such as having to pay for your own means of transportation. It is well known that his father stopped receiving his calls because he was persistently demanding money. When this occurred, the late Queen was forced to do the same thing since he continued to harass her after he had stopped taking his calls. It is possible that this is the reason why he was heard to be yelling, "Just fix it, will you," when he stormed out of the meeting that he had with his father the last time they met. The meeting lasted for 12 minutes. It was likely that he was requesting money once more. On a regular basis, Harry is accustomed to getting his way and being compensated for it in the process. To tell you the truth, it's a little bit ludicrous. People grow as a result of their natural abilities and their determination to put in long hours of labor, day and night. While this is going on, Harry is in the process of making a career out of telling stories about his family. He is exposing the most private information about everyone he believes he can make money off of, while at the same time claiming that the media hounded his mom himself and that he wants his privacy. Despite the fact that the man is a living contradiction, the most important thing is that he paid millions of dollars for his brand, which is a pseudo-woke carbon eco-BS, and he bit the life that bred him into riches and privilege from the time he learned how to clamber into a portable toilet. On the other hand, it was stated that 10% of British citizens have less than 25 to 35 pounds left in their bank accounts at the end of the month. Harry uses up our spare carbon footprint, which we don't need, considering that the majority of us are unable to afford to travel economically. Omid Scobie admires them, though, and loves the never-ending drama. It was suggested that he should emigrate and camp out at the bottom of Harry and Meghan's garden, like a little gnome where they can blow a dog whistle, and he can run up to the house double-quick and listen dewily-eyed to the piap that rolls out of Meghan Markle's gob and take dictation on all Harry and Meghan as complaints and victim statements. If he were to camp out at the bottom of their bed in a dog's basket, he would be in a better position to rapidly leap up and take notes whenever yet another hard luck story is being prepared for one of the 18 pieces that are being written each day. Their sole occupation is to persistently seek press and media coverage, despite the fact that they resigned from their position in the royal family because they did not wish to be courted by the media. A harsh automobile sequence was one of Meghan's roles in the Beverly 90210 movie. Meghan was a Canadian television series actress who was on the D-list. Fame and monetary swindlers. There are a great number of negative and self-centered stories that are carried out in the media. To put it another way, if they had their way, they would want to restrict the free press and be private individuals who are autonomous and receive free security money from the general population. There are dozens of toxic stories about the royal family and a career of smearing the royal family. For what reason would any company or A-lister want to associate themselves with someone who is so obnoxious? Harry, who was undoubtedly brought up to believe that he is the center of the universe and should be treated appropriately, was pretty much convinced of his ultimate superiority over the general public as a result of all the years that he spent in the royal family, where everyone bowed to him and took care of his requirements. This began from the time that he first sat while sitting on a potty. There is no way that his brain could ever come to terms with the fact that, to the majority of others, he appears to be an overindulged, spoiled man-child with a low IQ. An excessive amount of privilege and income can inflate one's ego, especially when it is coupled with a fame chaser who looks to be similarly focused on being as popular and famous. As for Meghan, what she wants, she gets, says everything there is to say about the subject. Currently, it is their tours in the United States of America. Who is responsible for paying for the trips and the security? Whose charity is it? It is important to note that fame and notoriety are not the same thing. It makes no difference what they do, what they say, or what they want. In addition, did anyone witness Harry moving slightly from side to side, swaying back and forth, or doing a tiny shuffle while they were dancing or doing whatever it was that they were doing in Nigeria? Do you think he looked even somewhat like John Travolta? They would have been an excellent dancing pair, and they would have been more like an appropriate dance partner to complement Theresa May while she was on her trip to Africa. Madam, please allow me to finish your dance card. In point of fact, they have quite low expenditures on security, and they require only a basic amount of cover in order to travel to Nigeria, which is one of the countries that the Foreign Office is concerned about. In point of fact, they are avoiding really hazardous locations, such as royal palaces in the United Kingdom. The charitable organizations that they claim to support will pay for a significant portion of their private airplane flights. It will only be necessary for them to pay the expenses if they are the ones who are responsible for collecting up prizes or sitting in the 8th row at film premieres. The fact that Meghan does not wear whole new clothing every hour is another example of her remarkable self-control. A daily average of 3 or 4 is insignificant. At the same time as polo is being paid for by other people, Harry is only occasionally abusing substances. Due to the fact that they are workaholics and put in at least 1 hour of work each week, they must be very wealthy. When everything is said and done, all they want to do is sit around and play, but the money is getting into their pockets by dishonorable means such as fraud and other such practices. The 100 million and the 20 million deals with Netflix and Spotify, on the other hand, were all overblown beyond belief, as it comes out that they were paid a total of £30 million. This is beginning to become a laugh-a-minute sideshow Bob attraction, which is tragic but at the same time so entertaining. Failure on top of the failure of their announced projects gives the impression that the two individuals are becoming more and more desperate to establish themselves in the half-in, half-out scheme that Queen Elizabeth II has rejected. This scheme would allow them to be part-time senior working royals while receiving full benefits, including the status of an independent private person. It would appear that Harry, who is being guided by Meghan, is making an effort to exert pressure on his ailing and aging father, King Charles, before William takes control of the situation and puts an end to their plan. Well, that's the main content for today. What do you think about these contents? Do you think like me? Please express your opinion in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching our video. Hope you will always be cheerful and happy. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Hello and see you again in the next videos.